We've been waiting so long, the season finally here. Soak it up and cheer, cause Timberwolves Talk is here. No need to fear, the wait is now gone. So farewell so long, cause Timberwolves Talk is on.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to episode 8 of Timberwolves Talk on Basshole Media. I'm Chris and that's Peyton, and today it's a good morning, honestly.
It's a hell of a day.
Whenever the Timberwolves win, whether it's preseason, regular season, a few times they made the playoffs, it's a celebration. You kind of gotta celebrate everyone, I feel like, right?
Yeah, I 100% agree, man. One thing I just want to point out, huge news today. I guess I got to check, but it looks like you're wearing sleeves today. Is that true? This is a rare occasion. Chris is wearing sleeves, so that's how you know it's going to be a good day.
That's right.
We're going to have a little extra energy today because it's the first time that we are that we're filming during the day. We usually are filming at like 12 p.m. at night after Chris gets a nice arm pump in or something, and I'm always half asleep. But today we got the energy.
Awake.
Today we got the energy.
Let's see. Any announcements before we get going? Actually, first announcement is Timberwolves are doing a cool promo, you guys. If you have not seen it yet, you should go check it out. Their new sponsor, Aura, has bought out, I want to say, the top bowl for the first game of the season and the third game of the season. So if you go click on the link, I think Dane Moore tweeted it and Basshole Media.
Oh, no, Basshole Media tweeted it, not Dane.
Basshole Media tweeted it out. You guys should go click on the link and get some free tickets. I'm sure there's some left.
Oh, yeah.
Peyton and I will be at that game on October 25th, or at least Peyton will be. I got to make sure everything works because I'll have to skip some class. But if you guys want to come see us, meet us, and just watch Timberwolves, come October 25th.
It'll be like a Timberwolves talk in real life.
That's right. And, hopefully we'll get a win that game. We've already beat the Pelicans in preseason, but they're going to have Zion back. And,
Well, yeah, but stemming right off of that, let's talk about the importance of the preseason. Because right now, after a few games of the preseason, we're looking like a playoff team. We're looking great. We're killing everyone. How important is this to you, Chris? And do you see this continuing into the regular season?
well, I can kind of see into you being the sarcastic Timberwolves fan right there. Peyton and I were talking about that earlier a little bit last night, how like kind of this topic in general and like Timberwolves fans like seeing the 3-0 and, their feelings towards it. So what I would say is I think it's awesome that these guys are 3-0, and I'm not going to discredit them at all because it's been starters versus starters every game.
Well, minus Paul George.
Minus Paul George, minus Kawhi.
Minus Zion.
Minus Zion. And in the Nuggets game, minus Jamal because he's hurt. But, like, it has been starting lineups versus starting lineups. And, we've been taking advantage of it. And I think you can definitely give them some credit in that regard. I think you can credit them in how hard they've been playing for sure. I would 100% agree. I think they are playing super hard right now, even in preseason. But the thing is, it's preseason. There's teams, especially in the NFL, that have very, very good preseason records, like 4-0, 3-1, and they'll end up having a very bad season. So you can't put – well, I don't think that's going to happen with the Timberwolves. I don't think you can put too much stock in the preseason because legitimately anything can happen in the preseason depending on the other team's lineup and depending on your lineup. So
yeah, man, I think that's a hell of a take right there. What I want to reiterate is that before the preseason started, is my audio a little off?
No, I think you're good, man.
It looks a little weird, but I just wanted to reiterate before the season started, like if we went 0-4 or if we went 4-0, I didn't want to make any overreactions about it because you're right, it's the preseason. It doesn't matter, and you know what? That kind of sucks, I think, because I wish it was just the regular season already. I wish that these games were counting. I wish that we could just watch some real basketball. But
yeah,
I wouldn't want it to be any other way. Like we're not complaining at all that we're 3-0 in the preseason. We just want to say that it doesn't mean that we're going to be undefeated in the regular season. And it doesn't mean that we're going to play this well in the regular season. It's the best possible outcome, I guess, of the preseason is to be playing well. And everyone seems to be playing okay,
Yeah, and I think like even a positive to take from this is we're 3-0 in the preseason, and I don't even think we've been shooting the ball too well, to be honest. So like imagine once we get into our groove a little bit, and Malik starts hitting his threes, Jaden starts hitting his threes, Ant starts hitting his threes. Those are three big guys, and once they get into their shooting rhythms, I think the games will become even better. But I think like Peyton said, it does really suck that like it's only preseason and we're 3-0. Like you'd much want those wins to come in the regular season,
Right.
but a win is a win. You'd rather have them go 4-0 in the preseason than 0-4. So
yeah. So what you were saying is that a lot of players we're playing well, but there's one player in particular that has not been playing well up to this point, and up until last night, he was, you could honestly say, pretty bad. And that's Jade Mcdaniels. A fun stat I want to pull up. I saw it on Clutch Points. Jaden McDaniels, through the first games, he had the same amount of fouls committed as field goals attempted. Now, when you hear that stat, well, it's 7. So he was 1 for 7 in the first 2 games combined. That's terrible. But last night he kind of got it back, 3 for 4 from threes, 15 points. And yeah, that's also, I just wanted to, I don't know. I was after those first 2 games.
Yeah, but there's an animal in the attic.
What are you listening to?
that's not me.
This cycle makes fun.
Oh, that's me. That was ESPN pulled up. But yeah, I was worried after those first 2 games that maybe Jaden was a little too overhyped, and I still kind of am. I love Jaden, but I think that so many people have just kind of taken him up as this player that's just automatically going to be a great defender, a great shooter. And I don't know. I think we kind of got to hold our horses a little bit with that.
I would agree to a certain extent. Yeah, I think he's obviously a project player. That's why he fell to us at 19 or 17 or whatever it was. Or no, he actually fell to like late 20s. That was Balmero we picked at 21, wasn't it?
I think he's 29.
Obviously there's a reason he fell to 20, late 20s, and that's because he's a project player. So project players usually take more than just their rookie season to develop and reach their full potential. And he might not even reach his full potential until he's 27, 28. But I'm okay with that at the moment because he does a lot of the little things right. And there's a lot of stuff that I see in him that he can build on and he can get a lot better at and that he's going to get better at. And that from his shooting to his physicality on defense and just his weight. I think his weight's the biggest thing that like we all kind of know he's skinny, but no one ever talks about the weight. And
you talk about his weight.
We do talk about his weight a lot, but no one talks about him like in the post, like guarding a big guy. Like we'll see him get dominated because he gets switched on to a bigger guy. And those are all things he can fix though, which is the good thing. And I think he will continue to develop and do that over the next coming years. And I think he can be that really good player we see.
I agree with everything you said there. But my point kind of was just that I feel like he is a project player and it's okay that he's not going to reach his full potential. But I feel like the media and the fans are acting like just because he overperformed where he was drafted last year, that it automatically means that he's a completed project. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people are not understanding that he is still going to be growing a lot as a player. And he has a long way to go. He is not at all the player that he's going to be at the end of his career, but he has been a great surprise and he is going to be a great player for the team, but it might not all click this year. And we got to be okay with that because he was a very late first round pick.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree. Yeah, like I think he can definitely be a good contributor to a team at the moment, especially our team.
Yes.
That needs him. Another guy who kind of fits that same mold, I think, that we're just getting to see this year is Balmero. And I've actually seen I think everyone kind of pulled the plug on him after the first game.
Really?
And yeah, like I've been seeing a lot of not Balmero hate, but I've been seeing a lot of, hey, why is this guy not playing as well as we thought he was? And I thought right directly exactly back to, where Ant was in the preseason last year when we were kind of watching him and, seeing him only score single digit points and like miss a lot of shots.
Yeah.
And we said the same exact thing, be patient. And Balmero last night's game, I thought played a very complete game. I thought defensively, he was switching over picks. He was staying tight on his man. He got beat on one backdoor play, but it was a perfect pass. I saw him knock down a wide open corner three, which is exactly what we need him to do. And, I really thought he stepped up that game and played well with the twos. So it's all about patience. And I know us Timberwolves fans don't have it often, but
We've been patient.
Balmero's he's one of those guys you put away in the top shelf for a little bit. And he'll pop out of the woodworks in like 2 to 3 years, and you'll be like, wow, like this is awesome. This is like a developmental player that really can fit his role on the second unit. And I think that's what we're really shooting for with him. So it's the same thing with McDaniels. These guys are really raw players that are young and need to develop more.
Yeah, I agree. I got a fun idea for a new segment, a way to incorporate our favorite Timberwolves Twitter guy, analyst, maybe you could say, insider. It's called the live tweet with Doogie.
Excuse me, sir. Yes. Your Grace. Is that my flame?
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna facilitate a tweet to Doogie right now, and then what if he responds by the time the video is over, we'll put his answer on the screen. So I think a good question to start out is we'll say, Darren. So the Timberwolves have started out 3-0 in the preseason. Do you think that this will translate into the regular season? What is your record prediction? You think that's a good?
I think that's a good one. Good first one for Darren.
You like the segment?
I do like the segment.
I think we'll let you talk while I get
yeah. Let me highlight some other things from last night. Again, I thought, like I said earlier, I think the starters outmatched their starters. Obviously down two very big players in their lineup, but that Clippers team's a good depth team, and they're going to be obviously a playoff team again this year. Another piece I saw last night was Noel just being Noel again. And I was actually talking to Peyton about this last night. I think Jalen Noel is a starter on a good few teams in the NBA, actually. Like I think his talents can be utilized as a two across the league, like very, very well. I think there's honestly, I think a cool spot for him that could be a nice pairing would honestly be the Charlotte Hornets. And I know that sounds weird, but they just lost Devontae Graham, and they really love those 3 guard sets.
Yeah.
Kind of like the college ball sets. And I think Noel would be super cool in that system, especially with LaMelo's passing. Like, obviously, we'd love to keep Noel. We want to keep as many pieces as we can, but I think that'd be a really cool spot for him in the future if he doesn't get his opportunity here. Because at the moment, it's really sucks, but there's just not a lot of routes to playing time with them, especially because we're still a guard heavy, lineup. And it doesn't help him that, Malik got moved to the bench, because that's kind of where that was kind of Noel's spot last year, was that 6-man role. And now that's Malik's. So,
yeah, I got, do you think that Noel has a chance of surpassing Malik Beasley skill wise in their career? Because I think they're two very comparable players. I think that Noel's he's more of a shot creator. Like, he can create a shot a lot better than Beasley, but
I'd say he can facilitate better too. And I'd say
that's what I'm saying. I feel like he has a higher ceiling than Beasley, because Beasley's like a 3-and-D guy. He doesn't have much D, but Noel is more of a facilitator. So do you think that he could pass up Beasley at some point?
Definitely two different play styles, and I can see them, working together on the second unit, because Malik's played 3. He plays 3, when he gets subbed into the lineup too. So that's not a huge deal for Malik being on the wing. But what I would say is I think Noel has maybe had a better preseason than Malik. And while saying that, like I said earlier, I can't put any real stock into preseason. So I'm not going to come out here and say Noel's playing better than Malik Beasley, because Malik is surely going to have a better year this year than Noel, in my opinion. He's going to have more opportunities. We've seen what Malik can do a little bit more than Noel, and they're just different players. Like I said, Noel actually played point guard in college at Washington, whereas Malik played off guard at Florida State and has continued to do that through his career. That's a tough decision because, possibly in a different environment, I think Jalen Noel could reach his full potential. I don't know here, though. I really don't. I think we have a very ball dominant guard, obviously, and we have hopefully soon to be one of the best we want to say players in the NBA, but at least one of the best guards in the NBA and Ant. And, you know, you have J-Mac at the 3, and I really love the J-Mac Vando Cat lineup. So your opportunities, your door is kind of shut for the starting lineup. Like there's really no chance of hopping in there. And then you also have to take in consideration the twos. And I would hope that their twos would, I really like explosive scoring off the bench. So I would say Pat, Bev, him, and Malik can run a 1-2-3 lineup.
Oh yeah.
Mix and match the 4 and the 5. But yeah, I think he's a solidified, you know, rotational player on this team. And while I think he could be a starter on another team. So I think losing him would be, you know, bad because obviously I think he provides a great scoring punch off the bench. He was one of the few bright spots last year, like in our major losing streaks. But you know, at the same time, you want to see a guy like that reach his full potential. So
yeah, and I think that this is hopefully a problem that we are going to have a lot more as our team gets better. Is that when you are a good team, your bench players should be starter caliber players on the bad teams.
Yeah.
And I think the special thing about Jalen Noel is you can put him in the game at any time and he'll get you a bucket. It doesn't matter who's guarding him, who he's playing with. He can create for himself. He can create for others. But he is an electric scorer. And I think
the Nuggets game, man. Like the end of the Nuggets game, he was the one hitting those dagger shots. Like that's, I don't care if that's preseason. Like it's the same mental state of a real game. Like he went in there cold-blooded, hit 2 of those shots, one to send us to overtime, one to win.
And honestly, I'd argue in these close preseason games in the fourth quarter, that's when you're really getting the best basketball because it's these young G League, summer league type guys that they're all fighting for a roster spot. So that's when you're getting the real basketball. So to see a player like Jalen Noel go off in the fourth quarter, and we saw him go off last year. Remember when he scored 17 points in the fourth quarter?
Yeah,
so
I do remember that.
He is a legit NBA scorer. I mean, you can't. That's one thing you can't teach is scoring. I mean, you can teach it, but it's kind of a natural instinct. And
you know what's a good player? You know what's a good player comp for him? Now that I was just thinking, I mentioned the Hornets earlier. I think he could be a Terry Rozier type of player.
Terry Rozier?
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, and he's – I mean, honestly, dude, we don't really have a backup point guard besides Beverly, but I don't see Beverly as much of a point guard. You know what I mean? Because he's not much of a facilitator. And, I mean, I haven't watched much of his game, but I'd rather put Jalen Noel as your second-string point guard. You put Beasley Beverly at the 2, Beasley at the 3.
Yeah, I really don't care who handles the ball in that lineup. We've seen Noel last year play an on-ball guard position, you know, when the backups come in. So I would probably rather have the vet and Bev handling the ball and Noel being the off guard. But I think he's a very versatile player. I think that just goes to show like he can handle the ball. He can play off guard. He can play a little bit of defense too, which is, I think Malik's working on that. But yeah, we're gonna be saying all this, and then in the first game of the season, Malik's gonna get hot from 3, and all that's gonna disappear because Malik's a crazy scorer too.
Yeah, I want to talk about Malik Beasley a little bit. I've been seeing tweets that he seems a little out of shape, all this stuff, and I honestly, I don't know. He doesn't look like the same player he was last year. Of course, it's just the preseason. I don't want to overreact. But he does look a little different. I don't know what it is. He's maybe not as – I don't know. He just doesn't have the same electricity that I'm used to Malik Beasley having. And I did not watch the Nuggets game.
If you were in jail 120 days too, I'm sure like some things would be different.
I know.
Like obviously his conditioning is going to be a little off.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't able to, you know, practice. I mean,
he was playing with the scrubs and he was playing with the jail
penitentiary mates, man. I mean, like, yeah, I'm sure they had like opportunities to exercise. Like, I'm sure.
Well, he could go to practice every day. Did you know that?
Oh, he could.
Yeah, he was barely in jail. He had work release.
Yeah, work release for the NBA is probably like a 17-hour work day, so he's probably not really in jail. But yeah, that, you know, I obviously like people really, you know, don't weigh the mental aspect of like a professional athlete. Like you can't tell me that this offseason hasn't been tough for him. You know, just the fact that he's in jail or jailed, plus, you know, obviously the split from his girlfriend.
Are they not back to? You got the inside scoop on all that.
Well,
Are they
yeah,
not back together?
I don't think they're back together. I haven't seen anything that's made me see they're back together. I don't think he gets to see his child a lot, and that's, I mean, that would have a mental effect on me. I can't speak for Malik Beasley's mentals, but that it's been a rough off season for him, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, and also as when you start becoming a vet, I was listening to, honestly, I don't know who was announcing the game last night for the Clippers, but he was an ex NBA player. And the way he was talking about preseason was kind of like, when you're a rookie, preseason is like the biggest thing. You're all nervous, you love it, you're super excited. But as you progress into the league, preseason becomes a thing that is just very waste of time. Like, you just wish that the regular season was starting. You don't take it as seriously. So honestly, I feel like we could maybe be seeing a little bit of that from Beasley. Like, it's just not, he's not as able to get as amped up for it anymore as he used to be. And
Yeah.
Again, we can't weigh so much on the preseason. And that's why it's even hard just to talk about the preseason on this, because we don't want to weigh much from it because it doesn't mean anything.
And also too is Malik has, proved to us, who he is as a player. I think last year when all the shit was going down, we were having injuries, we were playing bad, there was always one common denominator within our organization. That was Malik playing well. He would always play well, and we could always count on him to get us a bucket. So I think he hasn't done anything on court to make me distrust him yet, but
he hasn't done anything at all to make me distrust him.
That's why I said on court. On court, he hasn't made anything for me to not trust him as a player. But moving on.
Wait, I got one last take. Another thing I want to say about Malik Beasley is, as a player, the thing about Malik Beasley is that his best attributes are hustle, energy, and shooting. And those are things that you can't really turn off. You know what I mean? So, like, no matter how bad he's playing, besides the shooting, he's still going to shoot, which is another positive for him. But hustle and energy, you can bring that whenever, however, any game. That's why I'm not worried about Malik Beasley, and that's why I think he's going to be okay. Don't worry about Malik Beasley.
All right. 100%. The thing I really wanted to touch on, too, was just I want to give some praise, to Anthony Edwards and also to Chris Finch. I think Chris Finch so far, we'll talk about him first. I think Chris Finch has done an awesome job garnering this locker room in general. Like, you see the little clips the Timberwolves post after the games and
the pajamas,
like the pajama video, and the players love him. Like, I think he is like completely gained this locker room. I think everything that's outside of the locker room is just noise. I think it's just him and the players. Awesome job so far. And I think that really ties into this next part I was going to talk about is Anthony Edwards plays like a veteran now. And that's kind of crazy to say, considering, like all the mistakes that he's made, and
he's still making,
but just I think he has a great sense of leadership. I think he forms relationships very easily on the team. He seems like a very good guy to, be a teammate with. And just his presence on court, his leadership, his developing defensive abilities, and the way he kind of attacks the intricacies of the game. He's starting to cut more. He sees those lanes. He knows what to attack. Everything looks so easy for him on the inside right now. Like, you just watch him, like every single layup, he's not missing at the rim now. He has good touch at the rim.
He looks lengthier. He looks like he's able to finish better at the rim. Almost like it felt like before. I don't know if this is like you kind of know what I'm trying to say here, but before it felt like he would initiate the contact and then kind of do a fade, like you'd go away from the basket. But now he's getting all the way to the basket and just easily finishing.
All these reverse like I've been seeing the past 2 games. He's been doing a lot of, like, he'll get the ball on a back screen and he'll just do this super smooth reverse layup, and it just looks like he's wired to do that now. And he just looks like he's been in the NBA, and that's really, really good for a first year, of development. This second year, I think, could be equivalent to I don't want to, speculate. I'm not saying he's as good as Luka or Tatum, but this second year could be shaping up for him to have a sophomore year similar to those guys.
Ja Morant
those guys
type.
made a awesome jump from, rookie to sophomore year. So hopefully that happens. It looks like it's going to happen. Yeah, I'm super proud of where this team's at. I'm super proud of where he's at because he's given this fan base, something to be excited about. If it weren't for Ant, dude, I don't even know if this podcast would be a thing. He's the reason that the fan base is so excited right now. So you got to give that to him. And I think he's been a really lovable guy and an awesome personality to just cover and be on the team.
Yeah, I want to a funny thing about that. I think that for him, yeah, he's very skilled, he's very athletic, but I honestly think that his personality and I think his personality is honestly his greatest attribute. I think because you can be a great skilled player, you can have all this athleticism, but if you're just a dud in the locker room, you're not going to be as successful. But the thing about Anthony Edwards is everyone loves Ant. And when he's on the court, everyone's going to play with that same energy that he is just because of his personality. That doesn't have anything to do with his athleticism, his skills. So I would argue that is his best attribute.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's just like the small things. Like you saw in his story last night, he was just hanging with Kat, having fun. That has to happen in a basketball locker room. If you're not friends with your teammates, man, it's okay, I guess, in other sports, but you're with 12 guys and you got to be close with all of them. You got to develop that bond, especially the starters. And Anthony Edwards has done a great job of that. And I think he's, kind of stepping up into this. I think he started stepping up into a leadership role last year, honestly, especially
as a rookie. And you don't see that.
No.
And I think it plays well with Kat because as much as I love Kat, as much as I think he's a great player, I don't know if he's the best leader. I don't know if he's the most vocal leader that a team can have. And I think that by having Ant coming up and kind of taking the reins from Kat as that vocal, energetic leader, I think that's going to take a lot off of Kat's shoulders. And I think although it's going to be a weird dynamic for the team, I think that we're going to be able to make it work. And then also D'Angelo Russell. Has he not surprised you with how vocal he's been and how much fun it looks like he's having? I always thought he was kind of just like a quiet, monotone guy, but wow.
No, I was about to. Yeah, I was about to talk about his play in general, but I think all of last year he was the leader on the team, and he was the leader on the team because I thought he was the most vocal player on that team, and I still think he is the most vocal player on the team. I don't know about Pat. Maybe Pat Bev is a little more vocal, but on court, D'Lo is the one who talks the most and is the one who's always in the huddle talking, and I think he is more so that, captain of the team, and the captain doesn't always have to be the best player. It can be the player that leads the best. And I think everything might be coming together this year for D'Lo. I think so far to the preseason, like we said, we can't put much stock into it, but this dude looks
effortless.
Thin. He looks effortless scoring.
He looks more athletic than he did last year. I just want to say it. I remember when he came back from his injury last year.
Yeah.
How we noticed he was a little bit more in shape, it seemed like. I think he's even taken a step forward from that this year.
He's starting to look like, how some scorers just it's like the James Harden thing. It just looks effortless. He finds a little, he's not the most athletic dude, but he's starting to hit these shots, and how are you going to stop that if he hits these hard shots? Because that's his game. So I mean,
he only hits hard shots.
That is true.
He's the type of guy that's going up for a layup and he has a wide open lane. He'll fade away just to make it hard.
I mean, that is true. That is true. I really do think, the numbers may not show it this year just because of the mass amounts of scores, but I think he's better at the moment than he was in Brooklyn. And that's saying a lot. I think he's wiser. I think
wise. That's a good. He's a very old soul. I think
he is. He picked up golf over the offseason. I don't know if you guys saw that or heard about it. He picked up golf and, stuff like that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I 100% agree, man. From the way this Timberwolves talk is going, we both sound very optimistic. And I just want to reiterate, I am very optimistic about this season. I think that you can just kind of feel all the pieces falling perfectly into the puzzle. Just how you were just talking about how this is when D'Angelo Russell's kind of hitting his stride. Seems like Cat's hitting his stride. If Anthony Edwards does exactly what we think he's going to do and has this sophomore season, I think that everything is going to align just perfectly this year. And I don't want to be too optimistic, but I just have that feeling right now. I don't know why.
I think it's an important thing to note too is the destiny of this team. Like whether you can say it or not, like the destiny of this team falls on those three players. Like if those three players are doing everything they can and playing to the best of their abilities, this team's going to go a far way. But if they're not living up to potential, those are the three guys that are supposed to lead this team, and they got to take the weight on their shoulders and lead this team. And I think they can do that.
And I think we all just got to be we got to be ready because there's going to be ups and downs. We're not going to go 82-0 this year. We're going to have a few stretches where we're going to lose a few games. We're going to blow a few games in the fourth quarter, but that's okay. That happens. All teams do that throughout the season. And you know what? It might not start off as great as we're all thinking. We might have a tough start to the season, but as long as we just keep believing and realize that the pieces are finally starting to come together, I think that this is going to be a really fun season as a Timberwolves fan. And I'm so excited to bring you guys along with us and just be able to talk about it and connect with our followers and our viewers. And I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, on that note,
that was a good note. That was a good note to end it on. I think.
Yeah.
I think very hard.
We talked about a lot. This is being recorded on a Tuesday. Are we probably going to just drop it on that Thursday?
No, we're dropping it tonight.
Oh, dropping it tonight. All right. Tuesday night video for you guys.
Let's quick check to see if Darren responded. Nice.
He did respond?
Yeah, he responded.
All right.
We'll put it up on the screen right here for you guys to read. But yeah, guys, have a great rest of your week. Have a great Tuesday night. I think you'll probably be watching this at like 8:00. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great week. And let's go Wolves.